Checking notes, having fun, making stuff happen. There you go. The best thing's ever happened to the iPhone is being able to like unread messages.
Oh, or like unsend or
Well, yeah, but like because if I read a message and I don't respond right then, like
Yeah. Forget about
I'm
it.
not going
yeah,
back.
It never
Yeah.
happened.
yeah, don't rely on memory or willpower.
So
Those are the two things.
speaking of the iPhone, let's see. We're gonna test this right now.
It's always.
Oh shit!
Oh, look at that! The Studio USA app, real in live time.
As of right now.
There you go.
Yes, we're gonna get that. Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. Yeah,
let's go ahead and
that's
get that.
great. Good
Double
for
click to
you.
install. Thanks, man. What's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
Ooh,
Are you fired up?
Yes, I am. And we got a bunch of stuff going on. We got a TBD named.
Yes.
The name TBD.
I mean, I
determined.
like the name I came up with yesterday, or somebody came up with yesterday.
What was that?
The one, oh my gosh, now you're gonna make me scroll. The one that we came up with, which was, I'm gonna go back here, Throttle Up.
Ooh.
I thought that was good. See, my
Okay.
little
Yeah.
Throttle Up. You already launched, right? We launched in
Yes.
January.
Yeah, we had liftoff.
Hopefully you launched in December, whatever it is. But this phase is about accelerating, especially with alignment. Are your systems working? Is your mindset locked in?
Oh,
Are
you
you
know what?
headed towards
I
the
read-
original mission? Has gravity kept back in and like messed you up? So it's time to add some fuel, correct the course,
Dude, I had
and build some additional
Done.
momentum.
So we're about to invite you all to Throttle Up.
Throttle Up,
on
May
2nd.
There we go. Yes,
At Metrotex.
at Metrotex is gonna
Fun
be
for the
great.
entire family. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's a great, it's a phenomenal. Like I think that when we've talked about this before, I don't know what you got for ChatGPT
Oh,
today.
yeah.
But it's great. Like when you think about those three actions, I think these are three things. Make sure you write these down. Like you got to be intentional. Then you got to take massive action. Then you've got to have intentional reflection. And I think
Yes.
that like most people just do, people like us, and we did this for a long time. We still do. It's like fire, and then we'll like figure out the aim and all
Oh,
the other
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
later, right?
Ready, fire, aim.
Yeah. So, but the magic is when you're intentional. Like you have a plan, you prepare. You're like, here's where I'm going, and then you take massive action. You get enough data so that you can do the third part, which is reflect. Like, what's working, what's not working. And it's not, I need to crumple up the whole plan and throw it away. It's like those little course corrections that make a big difference.
Yes. Let's do that. So the first one that GPT threw our way was embrace the power of discipline.
Oh, so unsexy and so true.
Right. And the quote was discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment.
Yeah.
There you go. And that was
Yeah.
Jim Rohn.
Yeah, that's so good.
And it says, why it matters. Discipline is the key to transforming vision into reality. It's not always about motivation.
Yeah.
It's about commitment to the process, even when it's hard.
Man, it's so true. And I love that quote that I can't remember who said it, but they said, commitment is doing what you said you were going to do when the feeling has left.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like most people rely on motivation. And I do it all the time, right? I was like, man, I don't feel this, whatever it is, right? And we're waiting for the feeling to show up. Yet rarely does the feeling show up.
Never.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
if it does, it shows up after, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm really glad I went to the workout this morning. Didn't feel it.
There's
when
a
I was
lot of
laying
that
in bed.
in like this inverse proportion of if I do the stuff
Yeah.
and I get better at doing the stuff,
Yes.
all of a sudden I like doing the stuff more.
Yep.
Versus, oh man, I'm just gonna wait till the feeling hits me. And then when I'm inspired, I'm gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
Which rarely, if ever, happens. And like me as workaholic bachelor,
Yeah.
where I really have nothing else going
Right.
on in life, I can't imagine
Yeah.
if anybody had hats to wear that didn't involve sitting around waiting for the inspiration. So
Yeah.
it's like if I had kids, a spouse,
Yeah.
whatever, fill in all of those blanks that I have blank.
Well, I think that's where discipline's so hard is because there are other things. It's so the quote that we talked about this last week in a lot of my trainings was the things that scream the loudest are usually not the most important things.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't let the things that scream the loudest dictate your entire life. But like we are, like the kids are this, the tax guy wants this. We're usually just reactionary mode to the things that scream the loudest. And discipline is like, nope, I said these are the things I need to do. So doing those things. And
what is that?
Tough.
Man, I've seen it in hustle porn 1,000 times, but it's like the the matrix of urgent but not
Yeah.
important, important but not
Yeah.
urgent, and like that sort of sliding scale. And it's exactly what you said. It's the thing that screams the loudest. And usually it's like some sort of emotional trigger
Yeah.
that all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, if this doesn't happen, then ... end of the world.
Correct.
And in reality, that's very rarely, if ever, true.
Yes.
And
yeah.
a lot of it is just suiting up, showing up, doing whatever's right in front of you. And I want to say it's that eat the elephant, like one bite
Yeah,
at a time.
yeah, yeah.
But there again, how do you get to the place where you can figure that out? Because I think just as Western culture would have us be trained,
Right.
where everything's panic mode all the time. It's the end of the world every day. It's all over. And so there's something screaming every hour of
Yeah.
every day. So how do you get to that place where, okay, now I have a filtration system, because I'm inbox 0 guy.
Yeah,
Where like,
yeah.
dude, my home screen is
That's
is
yeah.
blank.
You would not appreciate mine.
Oh, now you got it. Now you
yeah,
got to.
you would not appreciate. Well, I texted one of my friends last night, and she said, "I'm so impressed. They only have 35 unread messages right now."
How many unread emails?
Oh, it's a number beyond belief.
Well, the record that I've seen. Okay, so back when
Yeah.
I ever taught Google for Ebby Halliday, the record was 73,000.
Okay, I'm probably like 54 or something like that. So I don't think I'm quite that.
You
there
took
go.
the bronze,
I
at
just
least.
deleted the other ones. I was like, yeah,
Well, that's
no.
what, like there. You try to be judicious about the commentary, but it's like in at one level, I'm like, just delete that account and start over.
Let's just start over. Yeah,
Nobody's expecting a reply.
Yeah.
You can just go ahead and clean that out.
absolutely.
And like for me, that gives me this weird. It's that thing of it's screaming the loudest.
Yeah.
Where now, of course, I would go and I will
Right.
go through it like I'm a crazy
Sure.
person on Tinder or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
swiping
yeah,
left on
yeah.
everything. But then I have that sense of calm or whatever, which I know is totally arbitrary and mostly artificial. And it's that sense of, oh, I'm super busy, but I felt like I got something done, when in reality it was.
And I think that's the thing is like you've got to starve in a way to say this is like starve the distractions and feed your focus. So how do I starve my distractions? Which means like I turn the dings off on my phone. I get rid of some of the apps. Right? What can I do? Because I think most of us have self-induced ADD on one level or another,
yeah.
right? Or
Yes.
self-induced, which leads to anxiety and all this other stuff. So it's like, how do I starve those and feed my focus? And it's not necessarily easy, but like we know. If you were teaching somebody else how to do it, you'd probably do a really good job teaching them. So it's like, just pretend you're giving somebody else a class and do that thing.
Yes, there is that. It's like the running joke probably for the better part of 100 years in recovery, where it's like somebody will ask you something about, fill in the blank life crisis
Right.
in recovery, and then you'll say something and be like, wow, where the hell did that come from? And I needed to hear that like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And it's one of those things where a lot of times you can't hear it until you hear it,
Yeah.
which is a
Yep.
unfortunate circumstance as far as how I process things.
Yeah.
And the distractions, it's like I'm much better now than I used to be. And how much of that do you think is because whenever you're starting, there are a lot of holes in the game and there's a lot of holes in the calendar.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that almost breeds the need for distraction.
It does, yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I think Jim Rohn said it, but like finish the day on paper before you start it. Finish the week on paper before you start it. So it's like if I don't have anything to do, at least I've filled into like my best ability of like, okay, I'm gonna do these things, right? And if it moves around just a little bit, like that's okay. But it kind of goes back to the money thing, and I don't know if this is true for you. Like if and I'm dear Jesus, I'm getting better at this, but I got ways to go. Like if I tell my money where to go, it's great. If I don't tell my money where to go, it just kind of disappears.
Yeah.
And I think it's like my day, right? Like if I tell my day where to go, like I'm doing this, then we're doing this, then we're doing this. Like if I tell it where to go, like it usually goes 85, 90% that way, right? But if I don't tell it where to go, it's like, where the hell did the day go? Like, right? Like, what
Yes.
did I do for the last 2 hours? Like, I don't
Whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
But it felt like there was something going on.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and so now to that, I actually I got Rocket Money, which is
Yes.
one of these things where of course all they want is your data or whatever, but it's ostensibly to let me know like where my money
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
the part of me like I don't really want to know that.
Yeah.
Or even like all the times we talked like over a year ago or whatever about the CPA just beating
Yeah.
my ass
Yeah.
on everything. Now at least that has gone down
Yes.
to a only a minor cacophony.
Well, and that's
where-
such a good example of like what Jocko Will he kind of coined the phrase, right? Discipline equals freedom.
Yes.
And like the discipline of you doing your stuff is now giving you freedom. Like, oh, I know I can go do this because I know where things stand, right?
Yeah.
I can go on the vacation because I know I did what I needed to do. Like I can spend money on this because I was disciplined in this area. So it makes sense. But I think it's also like you got to get practical and start like in one area and build. Instead of like the January 1st mentality where it's like everywhere in my life, I'm all in, I'm disciplined. It's like, yeah, okay, let's start with, instead of you doing 24 habits January 1st, I'd rather you do like one habit a month. At least by the end of the year, we'll have 6, 8, maybe, like.
I often wonder, is that just the human condition where it's like everything, everywhere, all at once, we're gonna fix it? And in reality, it's like, well, no, you actually let all of those things slide for probably about 2 decades. And, it didn't get here overnight. But, well, if I can't fix it overnight, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And even now, so like I do this, I do the gym thing or whatever. And, man, I wake up every day. Like, I get off the elliptical at night and I feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I feel like $1.50, man.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh. And I'm like, part of me is like, okay, one of these is going to have to give. And it's not that I want to like actually quit
Right.
doing the gym thing or whatever.
Well, and realigning. It's like, okay, what do I need to realign to make this thing work?
Yeah, and the discomfort. It's like, do I have to like actually add more to the thing to address the discomfort and soreness? Because it's like I don't stretch or whatever, just because I don't.
Yeah, probably should. Probably should. A minute here, a minute there. Yeah.
Right. And even when you know better,
Yeah.
I don't do better.
I tell you
all
what,
the
knowing is there. I think one of the things that people underestimate, and this happens a lot in coaching, is they beat themselves. Like people underestimate the journey from like your head to your heart, right? It's like it's one thing
Yes.
to know something. It's another thing to like hold it as truth and live it out in reality.
Yeah. And then that's a whole nother thing to take that
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's like I might even internalize something in my heart of hearts or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like, well, I'm not going to act on that
No,
right
and,
now.
and people think knowing is enough, and it's like, cool, knowing is step one. That's great. Like, good, you started.
Yeah.
Now, but bring it to fruition, and then what happens is then they start beating themselves up because I know it, but I'm not doing it. So then they just get in this feedback loop from hell, right? Like, what's
Yes.
wrong with me? I hate this. I can't believe beating myself. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Instead of what's powerful, and if you've ever read Untethered Soul, such a great
Yes.
book, like take a step back. And go like, all right, look at Little Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Like
When I
he
love
knows
that's the
what
one
to do.
where
He's not
it's like
doing
he
it.
talks about it like
Yes.
it's the theater, the
Yeah,
movie screen.
yeah.
And it's
Like
like
be in the
passenger.
stands watching the guy,
And that's a killer book. And I want to say there's like a couple of follow-ups to it that
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? It's like in the moment those books like really hit me between the eyes, and then I completely internalize the 2 or 3 things, do it for a minute, and another running joke in recovery is you find out what works and then quit doing it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and give yourself some. I can't tell you how many times somebody will like do something twice and they're like, got this, right? So like, and what do they say? Like, don't do it until you get it right. Do it till you can't get it wrong.
Oh.
And one of my buddies who's a coach, Hank Avink, one of the things I love he talks about is like you've got to give yourself some time to like really hone that thing in, right? Like some of you just need some time on task. Like just because you did it
reps.
right once doesn't mean that we now need to jump to the next thing.
Yeah.
Let's give ourselves
I
some time
am-
to like make that second nature. Then we can do the next thing.
I'm the king of that as far as at least when it came to business, because again, it was always like, heads on fire, asses catching, and just
Right.
everything's a sprint. And it would literally be like, okay, this thing, it powers up, it comes on, it does the thing, it works, good, next. And then you come back, 3 months later and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, look at this giant like snake pit of
Yes,
wires and
yes,
cables. I don't even know what that is.
Yes.
And so it's so funny. Tanner was looking through the back end of the website and you'd be like, hey, what's this and this? I don't know. It's like, I'm sure that made sense at one
The
point
link
in
to
time.
MindSpace, like I don't know, what are we doing?
Yeah,
today?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's my MySpace.
Yeah.
But it was a bunch of stuff, where a bunch of one-offs where it was like
Yeah.
stick
Yeah.
a pin in that for the moment. It fixed it. Okay, now on to the next thing. Completely forgot about it. 9 months later, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so there, that illustrated the who not how
Yes.
aspect
Yeah.
of what I needed, and having a partner that not only is as smart as me when it comes to the tech stuff, so I don't have to explain
Right.
what shit is, but he also has done the job.
Yeah.
Like the photo, the video, you know, the
And you can go in
content.
there as like the integrator and actually get the it's
Yeah.
like here's the vision, they go and put the pieces together.
Yes, and then to be, you know, at least from my own ego deflation or whatever, to be able to go like, I don't even remember what that was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you could like literally pull something out there and you're like, hey, you know, and I would say,
One of my favorite analogies to give to my clients is, remember, like it's kind of like those carousels, right? That's got the horses on and whatever else, you know, at the fair or whatever. And most entrepreneurs, they'll get a carousel. So let's say 10 is all the way done, right? And it's running. Like, you gotta check on it once in a while. But let's say
Yeah.
like 10 is finished project, 0 is just start. Most of them will get their carousel to like a 5 or a 6, and then they're like, that's spun twice, right? And then they'll go start building another carousel.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they got 5 or 6 carousels. None of them are under 10.
womp,
All of them
womp.
basically require full-time maintenance. Instead of like, let's get this thing to a 10, and then like once a week we can come by and give it a little push, but like it's good to go, right? And one of my things is with my clients is going, we'll do that, but we don't really get to go do that until this thing's at 10. And once this is at a 10, it means we got systems, we have the automations, we got the
Yeah.
clarity around it, whatever. And like, yeah, once a week it's not truly automated since you never have to touch it again. But let's get it to a 10, which is like once a week you come by, you give the thing a shove, and then we can go to the next thing. Eventually we get 10 of those built in a year, but let's start with
yes. And again, learn by doing.
Yes.
And I think there's another thing with human nature where it's like, we are so hesitant to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Where for whatever reason, at least personal experience, I always think I'm the outlier. Well,
Yes.
yeah, it didn't work for that guy.
Right.
But you know, like ... opiates or whatever. Like, oh yeah, for
Yeah.
everybody throughout all of human history, it was a terrible idea, but not for me.
No. Well, and it's like in a couple weeks, we're going to do coaches training, which is like 2 days. I let like 8 people come, and I just give them all the stuff, right? So, but what's cool is like you just like it collapses 20 years. I can't tell you how many people are like, oh yeah, I wish my team was doing better. I wish I knew what questions to ask. I wish I was a better leader. And I'm like, then get better. Like, come to the thing for 2 days and let me teach you, like not just give you the thing, but also teach you how to use the thing
Yes.
and save you 20 years of time. And I think that's where it comes into like, I talk a big game, but I'm actually going to do the thing to get better, or am I just going to go hustle and
Yeah, and again, there's like some of the things you just have to learn by doing.
yeah.
And then, you know, what is it? Youth is wasted on the young.
Right,
You know, is one of the quotes where, like, because I look back now and it's like, oh my god, I was such a dumbass just on so many. I was, I was incredibly book smart.
Yeah.
And I did well on standardized tests,
Right.
which is not all it's cracked up to be at all.
Right.
And it led me to go into a bunch of cul-de-sacs and just do donuts.
Yeah.
Where I'm
Yeah.
just over
Yeah.
here
For
spinning.
sure. Absolutely.
And learning shit the hard way. That I look back and it's like, wow, almost every adult at some point in time that tried to impart wisdom to me was more or less correct.
Yes.
And I was just such a jackass that it was, or I willfully disobeyed. That was
100%.
That was another one of my skill sets.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think sometimes just God Himself has to kind of clue us in.
Oh.
A great friend of mine used to say, like, it's hard to drag people, right? So it's either like they're ready for it or not. I think it's one of the hard things as coaches and leaders is to
Yes.
acknowledge that there's only so much you can do before like, okay, that's God's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she used to say like, run with the runners. So like the people that want it, they're using it, they're hungry. Like that's who you and I get to work with 90% of the time, right? And then walk with the walkers. There's some people that just need some extra grace and some extra love, and then check in on the people that are standing still. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like it's okay to check in on them every once in a while. But it's like, oh, still not ready. Okay, like
Yeah,
keep
well,
hitting your
and-
head on the wall, and when that starts hurting enough, let me
Yeah.
know. But I'm not going to try to drag over. I'm not going to overly drag that person. Right?
I have learned that lesson multiple times, and now my shorthand for that is, hey, you're invited. You don't have to come.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
And because on the flip side, there are many things in life where like, I want to be invited. I don't want to go.
Right, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's that equilibrium of make sure that everybody knows that
Yeah.
they are absolutely encouraged to be included
Yeah.
and to come along.
Yeah.
However, if you don't want to, it won't hurt my feelings in the slightest, and I will sleep like a baby.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that was a weird thing to get to, where it's like, you know, what you said, where it's you, come on, come on. And then you realize like, oh my God, I just spent X amount of hours, days, weeks, whatever, just literally throwing money out the window, going down the tollway.
Well, and I think a lot of times, especially with coaches and leaders, sometimes it's ego, and it's like they kind of turn into this God complex sometimes. Like if I was, you know, I'm so amazing that everyone should want to do whatever I say, and it's like. I get great at being the inviter. I love that. Get great at marketing. Get great at sharing the vision. Get great at asking great questions. And at the end of the day, like know what you can do and what you can't do, and give like serenity prayer, right? Like get real clear on what I can control, what I can't control, and then give up the rest. But focus on what I can't control.
And that has a lot to do with discipline.
Yeah.
You know, like where we jumped on was knowing when to, you know, give up the ghost, where it's like, dude, you know, because like what you said, where it's like we get this sunk cost equation in our minds where it's like, well, I've already poured, you know, X amount of time, money, effort, whatever into this person. Oh, they're going to snap out of it at any moment. And it's like, nah, probably not.
Never know.
You know, and I have gotten to be, somewhat jaded or whatever, but I love this. I've heard it several different times from different places, but it's like, history doesn't repeat itself. Human nature does.
Yeah.
And the idea that, okay, we are all susceptible to the human animal and the human condition.
Yeah.
You know, it's unavoidable.
It's funny. People are like, I have a hard time with like, let's go back to discipline. They're like, man, I have a really hard time to you know, keep myself motivated or keep myself disciplined. I'm like, yeah, it's because you have a condition. It's called human.
Yeah.
A lot of us got it.
Yes.
Right. Like, and my human condition is go back to something that's comfortable. Like it pulls me to something that's easy. Like avoid discomfort. Right. It's like you have a condition, so we need to do something about it. Right. It doesn't give you permission to not work on it, but it does give you insight to like, oh, I might need some help with this from some additional tools. So to put a bow on it, what's been the one or two of the best things you've done to help create discipline in your life?
Part of it was to go back to what you're saying about, you know, we all have this tendency and almost natural inclination to just beat the shit out of ourselves. Was to realize, okay, nature, nurture, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever matrix of events happened on the spreadsheet of life to get me to where like, oh, I'm a workaholic with like jack shit for empathy and terrible bedside manner. It's like, okay, well, rather than lean into like trying to fix all of these things, it's like, why don't we lean into the thing that we actually are and then adapt everything around that?
Yes.
So like my workaholism, it's so funny. One of the beautiful things about bringing Tanner in is we're bringing in Rebecca, who is our live and local phone person, admin, you know, like Jill of all trades, where she was like, hey, is it okay if I clock out at 5? I'm like, absolutely, because Tanner's on vacation. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, go rock that shit, knock yourself out. And she goes, oh my God, you're awesome. And I was like, yeah, I'm the only one that's insane that will be doing shit at 11 o'clock on, you know, Saturday night or whatever. That's not true. I'm actually in bed and out by 10. But by 10 o'clock, I'm still doing stuff. But now I've gotten to the place where I don't expect anybody else to do that. And I also you'll never hear me mention work-life balance in regards to me. Right. Because for me, there is none. And I'm okay with that.
Well, and like we talk about, like balance is predetermined allocation that's in alignment with where you want to go.
Well, and where I want to go is just that shit crazy on work.
Yeah. Right.
But hey, we're in the App Store.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. You got it.
Yes. Now, what about you?
I think that I think it goes all the way back to one of my principles, which is don't rely on memory or willpower. So for me, I do my very best not to rely on memory, meaning I put it in my schedule, I write it down, I give it to the team, I put it on the to-do list, whatever, like I do something with it. I've stopped relying on memory because I know that I might forget it, right? It's worth enough. I even call my dad on my calendar, right? Because it's like, that's worth enough to me to not leave it at risk of being forgotten. Well, Make sense?
Yes. And like one of the things that I have aged into was much like needing readers. Was to be like, okay, the near photographic memory that I had when I was 11 no longer exists.
And I see this so often with high achievers. It's like they were able to juggle 30 things, which is like 15 more than the average person.
Yes.
But then they get to a place where they're trying to juggle 45 or 60, and now they feel bad. It's like, no, you just need some systems around you to do. You need a Monday board. You need this. Like, now we need a better dashboard because and even if you could juggle 60, it may not be the best use of your bandwidth.
Highest and best use. I wear that out.
Yeah. And the last thing is like don't rely on willpower. So for me, that is like getting accountability, setting appointments, right, putting rewards in or pains in, like whatever I need to do to rely like
bumpers.
how do I make it easy to do what I've committed to do? How to make it hard to do what I don't want, what I don't want to do. So like it would be hard for me to cancel this appointment every Friday because we have it. Does that make sense?
Oh my God,
And it's
yes.
easy for me to be here because it's in my schedule. I enjoy it obviously, but like it's also in my schedule.
and I
I've built my
appreciate
world
that-
around. Yeah,
yeah, that
but,
you-
like I've made it easy. It's kind of one of the reasons why like some of my money is in places it's hard for me to get.
Yeah.
Right. So like I have to like email my financial advisor, be like, I suck. I need some of that. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel that
Yeah, you're
email
like,
sounds. Right. It's like I'm not sending that email. Right. So
Right.
it's like it's hard. Make it hard to do what you don't want to do, and make it easy to do what you do want to do. So one of the reasons why some of my money is auto drafted. Right. I don't even have to go
Same.
send the thing. Right. It's auto drafted to a place it's hard to get to. Right. So for me, that's the definition of using tools to create great discipline and make it easy. Discipline doesn't mean it has to always be hard.
Yeah.
Right. Like make it easy to do the thing. Make it hard to not do
And,
what you
and
don't
there's
wanna
that
do.
element of self-awareness
Yeah.
and being true to yourself.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that is work-life balance or whatever. Okay, cool. So any, even nanosecond that I would spend beating myself up over that or like thinking there's something wrong, it's like, okay, that's dumb,
Yeah.
But here we are. Love it. And I'm so glad you show up
Dude.
every Friday.
Hey, thanks for having
And
me.
so everybody get ready to throttle up. 'Cause,
Throttle up.
I feel a
May
promo or two.
2nd.
Yeah, I feel a promo or two coming on.
Ooh, here we go.
But for that, we've got to stop being live.
That is true. May 2nd, Metrotex. Get on a plane, a boat, a bus, whatever you got to do to get here and be with us. It's going to be great.